Good morning and welcome everyone. I see we have persons from all over the region with us. And so it is always a pleasure hosting a session with you all, feeling very international from wherever we are. And so today I want to welcome you all as we head into our special edition webinar. So we are on part 2 of our special edition, and we are doing that in collaboration with the ECS delegation of ICA. And so my name is Nikele Gregor-Karai, for those of you who are new and joining us today. I am the technical specialist in soil and water management with one of ICA's hemispheric program. And I am also the coordinator alongside my colleague, Dr. Janice and Martin of the CCRAF. We would have recently completed the 3+1 webinar series. And so we want to also thank all of you for participating in that. And definitely you will be receiving your certificate of participation soon for those of you who would have attended 2 or more of the session. So just to get into things, so just to ensure that you keep your mic on mute so that we do not get too much disruptions. If you're able, please feel free to turn on your cameras. It's always lovely to see the faces that are joining us. Definitely the session will be recorded. It will be uploaded on the CCRAF YouTube channel. So you don't necessarily have to wait for my email. You just go on there a couple hours after the session. If you miss the session or if you want to rewatch a certain segment of it, feel free to join, go on our YouTube. So with that, of course, for those of you who may not have remembered and those of you who are new, the CCRAF is a knowledge to action framework, and our key objectives, we try to look at sharing knowledge of resilient agricultural practices from across the region and even externally to the region. With that, we want to build a community of engaged actors, of yourselves coming together, engaging in this sector, and with that, looking, of course, definitely looking to enhance collaboration, because a lot of time to get things done well, we need that level of collaboration. And so our key objective also is to enhance collaboration among ourselves across the region, across institutions, and having even individuals join us in that collaboration. Also very, very important for us outside of, all the talk, all the webinars, all the panel discussions is translating that knowledge to action on the ground. And that is why we would have launched our CCRAF on the Road initiative, where we are now heading into the countries on the ground and implementing a lot of the required actions to address some of the challenges that we're experiencing in the region. So you would have known we had the 3-part webinar series, which has the certificate of participation attached to it. And so now we are heading into our special editions. And the special editions are open to anyone to reach out to us, so that we organize a session to share knowledge, share best practices within the agriculture sector. And so today we are collaborating with the ICA delegation in the Eastern Caribbean states to bring to you the session on digitizing ECS agriculture, technological innovations for agricultural transformations. And so we do have some lovely speakers there with us. And I will pass on to our moderator for the day, Michael. So we will have a nice group of the ECS, so you'll get to see a lot of the ECS staff today. And so Michael, over to you.
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Dalton. I'm the technical specialist of the ICA delegation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which is part of the ECS representation. Digitizing agri-food systems is one of 7 programs that ICA has in fulfillment of our mandate to really transform agriculture and rural communities across our member countries. This is a recognition really of the importance of these types of technologies in improving agricultural productivity. Each year we have an activity we call Digital Agriculture Week, which will be held in Costa Rica from the 22nd to the 26th of September. In fulfillment of our own mandate within the ECS, we've been having what we term Digital Agriculture Days or DAGs. These are activities which are intended to highlight the importance of digital tools in transforming the agricultural sector within the ECS. So for today's activity, we are having a partnership really of 3 different units within ICA, which is the ECS representation, the CCRAF program, as Nikita indicated, and also the digitalization program from managed from our headquarters. For today's activities, we're gonna have 3 segments really. We're gonna have a short address initially from the ECS representative, Mr. Greg Rollins. Then we're going to go into 4 presentations, which will take us essentially about an hour or so. And then following that, we will have a session for discussion for about an hour or so. And then we will close with some final comments from the digitalization program and also from the CCRAF program. All right, so we go straight ahead and we'll ask the ECS representative now, Mr. Greg Rollins, to make some opening remarks. Greg, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Michael. I hope you're hearing me clearly.
Very clear.
Wonderful. A pleasant good morning to all, and let me recognize our Deputy Director General, Mr. Lloyd Day, my eco colleagues, including Federico Burt, the head of our Digital Agricultural Program, our presenters, our participants from across the region and beyond. Let me again extend a very warm welcome to each and every one of you, and thank you very much for joining us for this CCRAF 2025 Special Edition number 2, which is being hosted in collaboration with the ECA representation in the Eastern Caribbean. We've adopted the theme, Digitizing ECS Agriculture, Technological Innovations for Agricultural Transformation. And at the outset, I wish to emphasize that ECA places great emphasis on this area of our work. We recognize the potential for the application of digital technologies to help transform, build competitiveness in the agri-food systems, not only in across the Americas, and in particular in the Eastern Caribbean. As Michael has indicated, it is within this context that ECA celebrates this important area of the Institute's work every year with a week of activities. And in the ECS, to support the Digital Agricultural Week, we hosted a number of digital agriculture days in each of the delegations with a view to bringing together stakeholders who had an interest in this topic. And we were able to have some very interesting presentations in all of the countries across the Eastern Caribbean. And now we are culminating this with having this regional activity across the Eastern Caribbean to bring more attention to this important area of our work and also to generate ideas for the adoption of digital agricultural technologies in the countries. We recognize that the agricultural sector in the Caribbean region needs to address the issues of low productivity, as well as low levels of management, low investment levels. And we see digital technology as an essential tool in helping to build and help to transform the sector, moving it forward in terms of building greater competitiveness and sustainability. So, and we recognize that there's a need to really increase the scope for expansion in the use of digital innovations to support our objective of transforming agriculture in the ECS. As an institution, we believe that part of our role is to introduce you, the individuals and companies which have chartered the course. This forum is therefore an opportunity to introduce you to some of these innovations, 2 from outside our geography, or 2 from within our geography, and 1 experience from wider field. We invite you to engage fully in this activity. In closing, I wish to recognize the contributions of our colleagues, the Digital Agriculture Program under the leadership of Federico Burt, our ECS delegations who have worked very hard to organize Digital Agriculture Days, as well as this event, under the leadership of Mr. Michael Dalton, our focal point on digital agriculture, and of course, the CCRAF, our knowledge action platform, under the coordination of Mr. Kelia Gregor Karai, all who have contributed to organizing this event. I sincerely hope that you will find the session most informative, extremely useful, and I encourage you to participate fully in the discussion session, as your contributions will help to foster the increased adoption and application of these important tools, all in an effort to build more competitive, more food secure systems in the Caribbean and in the ECS region. Thank you very much for your participation once again and for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rollins, and we will move right along into the presentations now. I want to invite my colleague, Gregory Del Sol. Gregory is the technical specialist at the ECA delegation in Grenada, to make a brief presentation on some of the activities we have been hosting so far in the ECS in terms of the Digital Agriculture Days. Gregory, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Michael. I'm trying to share my screen. Can it be seen?
Okay.
Okay.
You can go into full screen now.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. Okay. So thank you again very much, Michael. Let me first of all just recognize quickly our Deputy Director General, Mr. Lloyd Day, our ECS representative, Mr. Greg Rollins, and all the other ECA colleagues here. Especially want to recognize our presenters this morning, Mr. Grant, Mr. Joseph, Mr. Castellon, and our colleague at the coordinator of the Digitization Agri-Food Systems Program at ECA, Mr. Federico Burt. So, ladies and gentlemen, as Michael and Mr. Rollins alluded earlier on, today is the culmination of a series of activities that have been going on across the ECS in celebrating Digital Agriculture Week. So, we would have started events on June 27, 2025, with a presentation in Grenada. Grenada was the first Digital Agriculture Day celebrated here. We gave particular focus on use of digital tools, especially for knowledge management, and to address the real challenge of insufficient data and information for efficient decision making in the country. We then moved on July 3rd, to Antigua and Barbuda, where we had Digital Agriculture Day, and the focus there was presenting new digital tools and solutions that could boost agricultural productivity. We then moved on July 17th, to Dominica, where the Dominica delegation brought agri-entrepreneurs, technicians, and senior public officials to present to stakeholders digital tools and applications that can build sustainability and resilience in the agricultural sector. Our next Digital Agriculture Day was celebrated on August 7th, in St. Lucia, where the St. Lucia delegation conducted what they referred to as a hackathon. They collaborated with AGIT, the Ministry of Agriculture, and Sir Arthur Lewis Community College to host an ideation challenge where students, technicians, agri-entrepreneurs work together to develop new solutions to address real-world farming problems and challenges. We then moved to St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Kitts was on August 19th, Nevis was on August 20th, and there the delegation focused more acutely on introducing stakeholders to digital tools that support early plant disease identification and effective management practice. So the delegation there narrowed their focus to introduce digital tools that support plant disease identification, management, etc. We Then we're supposed to have our Digital Agriculture Day in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but a couple logistical issues prevented St. Vincent from having theirs before this event today. So they're having it next week on August 17th. And the St. Vincent delegation will focus primarily on the reintroduction of 2 new digital apps for farmers and extensionists. The reintroduction of the AgriX app developed by ICA and the My GeoFarm app developed by Cardi. So this will complete our digital agricultural days across the region. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So
Go
that
ahead.
in essence wraps up my presentation on the digital agricultural activities that we would have had across the ECS. And just want to say that if we want Caribbean agriculture to thrive, we must stop treating digital agricultural tools as optional. The future is already here and it's digital. And if we want to bring young people into farming, we need to make it smart, we need to make it profitable, we need to make it exciting. And going digital is the only way we're gonna achieve these things. So the digital revolution is already here and we need to fully invest in it. So thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for that presentation. Just a slight correction. The activity in St. Vincent will be held next week on the 17th of September. I think this slide had the 17th.
Sorry. Yeah.
And just to point out that we have had to delay the activity because we were waiting on our team to upgrade our AgriX app, which is a digital tool that we had made available to St. Vincent. So that upgrade is almost complete and it will definitely be ready for next week. So very good. Thank you very much, Gregory. Now I want to go into the main presentations for today. We have selected for this session 2 presenters from within the ECS, given that this is essentially an ECS activity conjoined with CCRAF and the digitalization program. And we have also sought to get some experiences from abroad, in this case, Chile. So I'm going to invite in the first instance a young gentleman from the country of Antigua, Mr. Michael Joseph, to make his presentation to us. Now, Michael is going to talk about some work that he has been doing in regards to the application of drone technology to support Antigua and Barbuda. I invite the presenters as you begin your presentation to say a little bit about yourself before you get into the substantive presentation. Go ahead, Michael.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Joseph, a young farmer and spray drone operator based in Antigua. Well, I've been involved in crop farming for the past 5 years, and I basically grew up in
we can't hear you proper.
fishing. Can you?
Can
you
you
hear me
speak
better
a
now?
little loud? Yeah, it's good.
Can you hear me better now? Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay, let me start over. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Joseph, a young farmer based in Antigua. I've been involved in crop farming for the past 5 years, and I basically grew up in a commercial fish school. So I basically grew up in agriculture. In 2023, I bought my first agriculture spray drone. I initially bought it for my personal use. Then I started to expand into providing services to other farmers on island. So today I'll be speaking about my experiences with agricultural spray drones and how it has helped me and other farmers on island. Can I get the next slide, please? Next slide, please.
It's already on the next slide. I think it's your network a little slow. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. First, I'll speak about what actually is an agriculture spray drone. Most people, when they hear drones, they think about small camera drones. about spray. There are multiple different types of drones, and especially multiple different types of agriculture drones. We have spray drones and we have crop sensor drones. Today, I'll be mainly focusing on spray drones because that's where I have my experience. A spray drone is a flying unmanned device equipped with applying liquid and granular inputs like pesticides, herbicides, foliar fertilizer, granular fertilizers, seeds, and so on. It can also operate autonomously via GPS and flight planning software. As you can see in this picture here on screen, this is a pre-planned map here where the drone will mark out your boundaries and the drone can fly your field fully autonomously. Next slide, please. Okay, first I'll get into some of the benefits of agriculture spray drone. Why you as a farmer or as an individual will want to buy a spray drone. Some of the benefits I've noticed personally and other farmers has come to me with is the faster spraying. You can cover acres in minutes. Let me give you an example. Usually taking about a whole day to spray an acre of land manually with a backpack, but with a spray drone, I can cover it within 10 minutes. That's massive time savings right there. Gives you ample time to do other things on the farm outside of spraying. Reduces labor demand and physical strain. That's another big point there. So if you're like a larger farmer, you won't need 2, 3, 4 people to do your spraying. You can do one spray drone can do the same work as 10, 15 people. One of the biggest points with its benefits with the spray drone is lower water and chemical usage. I've personally noticed around an 80% reduction from backpack spraying in my water and chemical usage. I usually use maybe, when I spray my farm personally, I'm talking about maybe 40 gallons of water. And now I'm using down to 10 gallons of water to spray. And I'm getting better coverage and I'm saving a lot of time. Another key benefit is people ideal for hilly and muddy terrain. So like people in Dominica and those hilly terrain islands, hard to reach, steep going uphill, it makes the work a lot harder when you're spraying and sometimes just discouraging. But with the drone now, it has a radar underneath that gives you terrain following and it can fly up the steep hill fully autonomously. And another big key factor is reduces exposure to harmful chemicals. You don't want to some of these insecticides can be harmful for extended periods of exposure. So as much as you can reduce your exposure to these chemicals is better for you, your health, and your livelihood. And another thing, outside of the spray drones, as I said before, there's sensor drones. You can monitor crop health, soil conditions, and growth patterns using multispectral imagery. Another thing, even livestock farmers can benefit from these drones because these thermal drones, a lot of livestock farmers use these drones to find lost livestock and so on. Next slide, please. Environmental impact. That's one of the main key things I want to touch here. They reduce chemical drift and over application. So initially, as I said before, in benefits, when you're using less chemicals, you're getting less chemical runoff into your waterways, so you have safer waterways for the public and so on. Less exposure into the environment. You're spraying precise applications with these drones. And also with these other larger farmers who use tractors for, say, spraying, it can prevent soil compaction compared to tractors. And it promotes a more responsible chemical usage because you're using less chemicals, so overall it's better for the environment. And it also supports eco-friendly precision farming practices. Next slide, please. How it helps farmers in Antigua and Barbuda and the OCS. As I said previously, solves labor shortages in rural communities. it's very, I know in Antigua, it's very hard to find farm
Hello,
help
hello, sir.
nowadays. Right.
Hello, sir. Some of us, we are where we are. We are in the farm. Our phone power is running down. So at the end of this, maybe we can't continue on this class to the end. So how, if you want the slide, how can we get a slide to read more about it?
Hi, the email will be sent to you after the session and the recording will be uploaded to your YouTube. We will share the information via email. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. I'm trying to find it difficult to get power. My solar is not working. It's not doing
No
active.
problem. We will share all the details after the session with you. Thank you for
All right.
joining us. Okay.
Welcome.
All the best.
I'm still with you. Thank you.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Joseph.
Okay, as I previously said, it solves labor shortages in rural areas. So in Antigua, we face a labor shortage, kind of hard and difficult to find farm help. So instead of relying on finding people, you can get the machine, which is more reliable sometimes than humans. Faster response to pest and disease outbreaks. One of the most key important times to spray crop like fungicide is like after the rain. And oftentimes it's most difficult to do so with your manual backpack or with a tractor because of how slippery the ground might be and the wet. So you might injure yourself. But with the drone, it doesn't matter how wet the ground is because you're flying overhead. So you're able to treat these pests and diseases a lot more quickly and more effectively. So you get a better you get a better response time to your issue. It's great for smallholders, farms, affordable services. So instead, you don't have to buy a drone to benefit from agriculture spray drone. You could get the service from other service providers and so on. Allow for precision in mixed crop fields. So if you want to spray a field and you don't want the chemical to drift over to another field, as I said previously, you could map the field and the drone will just fly within that boundary. So you can apply spot spraying, you could say, without different chemicals for different applications, different spots. Farm productivity and yields. As I said earlier, with the faster response, when you get to respond faster to these diseases, your crop yield will be more better because your crops is under less stress from disease pressure and insect pressure because you're able to treat these problems in a timely manner and more quickly and more effectively. Thank you. Next slide, please. Disadvantages and limitations. You know, nothing can be all good. So it has to have some kind of disadvantages. One of the main disadvantages with drones in general, the high initial equipment costs. Some of these drones can be quite costly, and that can be quite a large barrier of entry to some small farmers and so on. The battery life limitations. Oftentimes you will have to, for a proper setup, you'll need more than one battery and also a generator to keep the flow running. Because with the battery life, you're getting 10 minutes of operation time. Weather dependency, you can't fly in high winds or rain. Maintenance requires some technical knowledge. In some rural areas, you might not have like a maintenance facility, so you'll be on your own to be maintaining the drone on yourself, so you'll have to turn like a mechanic. Limited tank size. Some of these drones were quite small tanks, so you'll have to refill quite often. Next slide, please. Here are some of the common misconceptions, because when some people hear about agriculture spray drones, they're a bit skeptical. And these are some of the misconceptions I've seen and heard. They're too expensive to use. Even if the drone might cost, the initial cost of buying a drone is not really a large barrier of entry because you could hire a service provider who can provide the service to you at a reasonable rate. They're only for big farmers. Small farmers benefit even more from precision agriculture. I here personally have serviced more small farmers, have capitalized from my service than larger farmers. They can't apply granular products. You can apply granular fertilizer, seeds, and even fish feed for aquaculture with these drones, as they also come with a spreading tank. They're hard to fly. Another factor is they use GPS automation and follow pre-planned routes. So instead, you could just go out, set your boundaries, and the drone will fly autonomously. So you won't have to manually fly the drone. Next slide, please. These are some of the different types of agriculture spray drones. Some of the most common global models. I'll be focusing on the DJI brand because that is what I use and what I find to be the most reliable brand out there. They have the T20, which is a 20-liter tank payload. They have the T30, which is a 30-liter tank payload, wider nozzles, obstacle sensors. And from the T40 go on, that's where we start to see a little bit more of the technology, some more sensors and some more radars going on. Like the T40, we have a 40-liter tank, dual automation. They don't use the regular T-jet nozzles, but they use a autonomous, a centrifugal nozzle, which rotates and cuts the water and gives it a more like a sprinkler out. And it also does granular application with feed and seeds and so on. T50 is basically similar to the T40 with just a little bit improvement. Same tank, same 40-liter tank, but it has a little bit of radar improvements and a little avionics improvement. And recently, DJI just came out with the T100, which is a 100-liter tank that is more for larger farmers. And that one not only has radar, but it also has LiDAR, which is a much more advanced safety system. And it also can carry loads up to 300 pounds. So you can carry produce from deep in, like, as I said, if you're in the hills and you have oranges, you can carry them down to your vehicle and so on with the drones and so on. Next slide, please. Well, the way forward for the OECS in general, we need to encourage training for use in and farmers in these technologies so we can get more people using these technologies so they can be more common. Use drones in sustainable agricultural programs. Include drones in farm tech demo plots. Build a regional repair and service hub, because that's one of the main things right now. Because if you're going to have buy a drone, you're going to need, you don't want to wait 2-3 weeks to get parts from the US or from China and so on. So we can have a more service hubs that applicators can get access to parts and so on a lot more quickly and in a timely manner. Integrate with farm data systems for better decision making. Like I said, with the sensor drones that can do crop inspection and get you farm data with the crop health and so on. That would be a key point right there. The next slide, please, last slide. Okay, right here, I have on the left here, I have my DJI MG1. That's a drone that I currently have, and I currently am on the way getting a DJI T25P. Those are some drones that I'll be getting, and I know a few other islands like St. Kitts have a DJI T25 currently. Okay, in conclusion, spray drones offer smart, clean, and scalable solutions. It's going to solve many of the problems farmers face today while opening up entirely new opportunities. Because if you think about it, 10 years ago, if someone told you that they're spray drone operator for farmers, you wouldn't believe them. But today, that's a whole new career path that someone can take and go forward with. And in 10 years from now, all we can do is imagine that the level of advancement can be made. And drone technology is just a small part of the much bigger picture. That's why seminars like these are important to highlight these these activities and share, so people can share their experiences and so on and create awareness. And I'm looking forward to hearing from the fellow presenters, to learning from them and see what they present. That's all for me today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael, for that interesting presentation. Again, apology for that unexpected interruption in the program for today. But we proceed. We go right ahead. We want to invite Mr. Charles, and of course, I've been seeing your comments in the chat. And just to let you know that our colleagues, they're taking note of those. And when we get into the discussion forum, we will seek to have the responses from Michael to those queries and comments that you have. So we go straight ahead to Mr. Charles Grant. Mr. Charles Grant is from the nature island of Dominica, and he's going to make a presentation to us on the use of long-range wide area network application to support decision-making in agriculture. So Charles, the floor is yours. Please proceed.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, your
Awesome.
audio is very clear. Go ahead, please.
Awesome. All right. Good morning, everybody. Awesome. Morning, everybody from across the Caribbean. Thanks to ICA and CCRAF for the opportunity today to present with you. I always look forward to talking tech. My name is Charles Grant. I'm from the nature island of Dominica, not to be mistaken with Dominica Republic, but I am from the nature island, the Caribbean, which is Dominica. So good morning to everybody again. Today I'll be talking about LoRaWAN and enabling climate smart agriculture across the Caribbean. Quick background on myself. My name is Charles Grant. I'm the director of a small IT company on island called QC Grant Limited. My LinkedIn is there. You guys can look me up. I took the certification path in my IT career, so I did a ton of certification. These are some of the certificates that I have, along with a master's in security and forensic information technology. Surprisingly, we had an incident earlier, and I'm the next speaker, first time in my career. But there's always a first time for everything, and I'm sure I can assist in looking into this. So let's get into it. So as you can see on the screen, this is Fifth Avenue, New York, in the 1900s. There's only one automobile, and you can see it in the little red circle for those of you that can see it. Only one automobile in the 1900s. Fast forward to 13 years later, there is only one horse and buggy, and everything is an automobile. Only 13 years it took for that dramatic shift to occur back in the industrial age when the automobile came on the scene. And that shift was only 13 years. Today, we have an accelerated shift of innovation, all due to AI. And I'm only going to mention AI one other time in my presentation because our next presentator, Castian, will get into all of the other AI talk. So if you just Google or check the news on agriculture from across the world, you find something about smart agriculture, AI in agriculture, boosting production using technology, and a whole range of news articles, all in line with AI or smart technologies. In agriculture, we have a few challenges in the Caribbean. We have increased weather volatility, we have droughts, we have hurricanes, we have flooding. We have fragmented farm data. Most persons probably keep stuff in a book. Interesting thing about farmers is farmers hold a wealth of knowledge about their specific farms, their specific area, but it's all in their head. They know it like the back of their head. That's why farmers probably don't take as much vacations, because if they take a vacation 2 weeks, when they come back, their farm is, they left somebody to manage it for them. When they come back, it's all messed up. And if they were there, they would have probably seen something that they could have prevented. But farmers have a lot of knowledge in their head, and if we could get that data out of their heads and into a system, I believe a lot of our farms would be way more successful, and we could pass that information on to much younger farmers to increase their success. However, in the Caribbean, we need to scale. But scaling, as one of the last speaker mentioned, there's normally some big investment when we talk about bringing technology to the farm. However, there are some really low cost digital solutions available, and LoRaWAN is one of them. So I don't want to get too technical, but just a brief overview of what exactly LoRaWAN is. So LoRaWAN is a long-range wide area network. Basically, it's a wireless communication protocol designed for low power, long-range IoT devices. IoT devices is just Internet of Things. It just means anything that connects to the internet or connects to a system that connects to the internet. So all your sensors and stuff like that. Why is it important, or why is it so important that this is the technology that could be used for farms? It's low energy consumption, um, long range. It supports thousands of sensors. It's ideal for rural or remote areas where connectivity is limited. Now, this technology is comparable to wireless technology like your normal Wi-Fi at your home, cellular, 4G, and some other technologies called Zigbee. Now, because of the low power, you can basically hook this up to a battery bank or small solar system and put these sensors across your farm using very little low power. So this is just a general technology architecture of what it looks like. Um, you have your sensors connect to a gateway, and somehow it gets off your farm. Now, in the Caribbean, like Dominica, our topology is very, very difficult. So in flat areas, this technology would work very easily because LoRaWAN can give you, in some cases, up to 13 kilometers line of sight. In our terrain, Dominica is very mountainous. Our topology is we're not going to get line of sight for those distances. However, you can still map your farm out in a way that you place the sensors where each sensors talk to the next sensor, and you just kind of go around your farm and ensure that every area of farm can connect to another sensor close by. And then that's how you'll get the information deep out from within your farm. Now, at some point, you need to get this data out into an application. You can use your phone and just have the device on your farm connect to your phone, and it will get it to the cloud for you, or to an application that you would have access to, an app on your phone or any of those things. Why LoRaWAN is for the Caribbean? Small island states face connectivity gaps and high telecom costs. If you have to use Wi-Fi on your farm, it'll be very expensive for you because you would probably have to pay for 4G data for all of those sensors, and you would require a lot of sensors depending on the size of your farm. Climate resilience, it requires real-time monitoring of your crop for water and weather. You want to know what's happening on your farm, even when you're on vacation, and you can take action, and you know the action that you're taking will prevent you from losing crops or giving you better yield at the end of the crop cycle. So LoRaWAN enables community-driven networking. If you have two farms pretty close to each other, those two farms can work together in order to get the information out from their farms. Obviously, because I'm into security, I always mention the privacy part. Yes, not because you are working with a farmer next door to you that you're going to be able to see the farmer's information. You're just sort of building out your own little network so that both of you can enjoy the benefits of the data from your farms. You can integrate with open source platform. Open source is free. It's available to everybody. Anybody can take it and make something from it for free. You would need some technical person that can help you build and customize it. but there are lots of devs in the Caribbean, and my team have a team of devs that helps build applications, and I'll probably show you one of them later on in the site. So one of the names is ERP Next. You guys can check it out when you have some time. So because it's open source, it reduces your dependency on costly proprietary systems, which again is one of the hindrance in farming, that you are trying to bring technology into your farm, but now you have to go do this customization. You have to pay somebody to build it out how you want it. But building it out how you want it, again, as I mentioned earlier, farmers have the information in their heads for their specific farm. If we could take that data and put it where the farmer farm is now sort of a living, breathing thing that takes action as needed. It waters the plant based on what the farmer believes is best for his farm, based on his area. It doesn't overwater because you have a small sensor that tells you how moist the soil is and all of those things. So LoRaWAN in agriculture and some use cases. You have soil and crop monitoring. Sensors track the soil moisture, pH, and nutrition. Helps optimize irrigation and fertilizer use. So you have a sensor, it sees that the soil is dry, it turns on your sprinkler. Your sprinkler is not set on a timer where it just starts watering based every hour, every half hour. It looks at the moisture in the soil, and then you can trigger the sprinkler to come on. Yeah, you have weather monitoring. So it rained overnight on your farm. In the morning, you already see you don't need to water because the farm did get some rain overnight. You have livestock tracking using GPS collars or low power tracking devices for animals. Some of the GPS sensors, and the next slide I'll show you one of them. It also checks the temperature of the animal, so you can actually monitor that and see that something's off with this animal because the temperature is not what it normally is over time. Water management, smart irrigation system, controlled based on sensor readings. So the sensor says the soil is moist, is not moist enough. It will turn it on and give it just the amount of water that it needs to get to where you've set. And again, it's using that data that the farmer knows is best for his plants. Cold chain monitoring for persistent goods, this is probably good for the farmers that do meats. You're sending your meat to the supermarket. The supermarket is a little far away. You can prove to that supermarket that your meat stayed at the right temperature from the time it left your farm to the time it got to the supermarket by simply using a small USB temperature sensor that you just put in the storage container for those meats and stuff like that. All right, so these are just some examples of some of the sensors that are available. You have animal air tags with GPS tracking and temperature sensors. You have a little weather station that looks similar to what you see here. It has its own power, and you place this across your farm. You have a temperature sensor that you place within your greenhouse or any area of your farm that you're trying to monitor the temperature. You have sensors that measure pH, NKP, moisture, and all of those things. And again, there's just another example of some more sensors on the side that connects to a gateway, which will then get it to the internet or to the application for you. Not to be too technical, just some more examples of your sensors goes to your gateway, the gateway connects to the internet, gets it to the application for you at some point. So implementation path for the Caribbean. These projects are very simple and easy to deploy, but the suggested path would be a pilot project with start with a small key crops, community gateways where you leverage schools, cooperatives, local government to host LoRaWAN gateways. Basically, the gateway that will get the data from the farms. You can get those persons involved to sort of start building and getting those gateways to the farmers so they can then put the sensors, and the sensors have somewhere to send the data to. Obviously, integration with government systems, disaster recovery office. Some of the data from your farm, if you have a little weather station, might actually help the disaster preparedness because now it knows that you're having a lot of rain in your area when that rain wasn't necessarily forecasted, and it could probably alert them that maybe the river on your farm might probably overflow, which would probably affect person lower down and stuff like that. So you could pass all of that information to the local disaster recovery office, because now you have important data from your area, which would make a more comprehensive data for decision making from those sort of organizations. So you work hand in hand with them. Partnerships from universities and, again, credit unions and the private sector. If you have a supermarket in your area, they want your produce. I'm sure they probably can help support you because in getting those types of systems, because now you can probably guarantee better yield and crops for them on a more consistent basis. Scalability, these systems can scale across acres, and there's no real limitation as far as how much devices you can have. You can have thousands of devices. All right. One of the things that, this is the second time that I'm supposed to say AI. AI is open source. Open source means that it's free. Now, this is our local build from my team and I. So this is a local AI machine. Some of us have heard of ChatGPT and all these new fancy AI machines. But AI, because it's open source, you could actually build your own machine. So this is our local machine. All our data go in here, and we get the same features as ChatGPT. So we could basically take all the data from a farm. This would probably work for hundreds of farms because this is a pretty powerful build. It's not cheap. I'm not selling farmers to go build your own AI machine, but I'm kind of talking to the region as a whole of the ICA and CCRAF as far as what is possible today for farmers. So hundreds of farmers could benefit from one such machine, and that machine could be in the country or in the ministry itself, where we know that data is in our country. So it's just to highlight that. All right. As my previous speaker says, there's always challenges when it comes to implementing any sorts of technology. So there's infrastructure gaps. A lot of these technologies, you have to go find them. This is not something you go pick up at your local IT store. You'd have to source it. Power, obviously, farms do not have power. They do not have internet. However, LoRaWAN is low power, and your mobile phone could connect to the gateway on your farm whenever you get to your farm, or you can figure out some other type of way to get it out to the internet, which gets it to your application. There is Starlink and a few other ways to get that out to your farm. But just collecting the data is important, getting it out. There's solutions to help you with that. Obviously, some training and capacity building. Obviously, you have to understand the technology, you understand how far you put the sensors from each other based on your topology on your farm. Obviously, there's some data privacy and ownership. Like, so community puts this together. Who owns the system? Who owns the data? Who maintains it and stuff like that? Need for public and private partnerships. Obviously, the more we can get more public and private partnerships, whether it's supermarkets helping out the farmers, government ministries helping out the farmers to sort of build out these systems, we can probably get over some of these challenges. So climate resilient impact, like what exactly is the system going to do for us on our farms in the Caribbean? Early warning for droughts, pest outbreaks, reduce input costs. Obviously, if you are keeping your pests under control, obviously this reduces the amount of inputs that you actually have to spend on your farm. It makes your farm sustainable. It improves your yield, which obviously helps with field security, but generally just makes your farm more profitable. You can guarantee that supermarket that every month you can deliver 500 heads of lettuce because you know you have all the data and you know you've consistently seen that that's what you can do, so you can guarantee that for that supermarket. It strengthens digital agriculture ecosystem across the region. Obviously, over time, as these systems grow and get bigger, we could start sharing that information across the Caribbean and sort of showing how a farm in St. Vincent compares to the similar farm in Dominica. But what was the difference with how the farm was set up and the different what happened across the farm during the same period, which resulted in different yields and stuff like that, to basically figure out what is the best actions to take on the farm at specific times to get better outcomes. In conclusion, LoRaWAN is a game-changer technology for climate-smart agriculture. It empowers farmers, reduce risk, and builds resilience against climate changes. We're a hurricane-prone belt. We all know how that goes. So a simple call to action is just let us collaborate across the region to develop such systems. This is just one type of these systems. There are other ways that you can do this, but based on the low cost of this, let's maybe see if we cannot develop some of these networks to see how far we can get agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charles. Another interesting presentation there as to what is possible within our small space and the many tools that are available to us to apply to the agricultural sector and particularly to farming operations. We want to take the final presentation now. The final presentation is coming from Nicolas Castillon. He's all the way in Chile. We thought it would be useful to have an experience from outside of the region to share with us here in our ECS and Caribbean states. Nicolas, the floor is yours. Please proceed.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Yes?
Loud and clear, Nicolas. Loud and clear, please proceed.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Michael. And first of all, I want to say thank you so much to the organization for inviting me to this amazing webinar. I'm very proud to be presenting here and share all of what we are doing in terms of digitalization with Mido. And well, my name is Nicolas Castellon. I am industrial engineer. I am Chilean, and I am 27 years old. I've spent the last 5 years of my life developing technology for the agricultural industry, of course, with the team of Mido. And today I'm here to show you what we have been building at Mido. And just to start, I would always like to start with the why, why we are doing what we are doing, before of explaining you the what and the how. And this is the why that drives us. Every day, farmers around the world have to make critical decisions that can strongly affect their results. But they do so without precise information. This has been a huge challenge because every producer works in different ways. Information is usually on paper or in messy WhatsApp conversations, and technology were not built for producers. They have to adapt to each technology and not the other way around. So the result is operational chaos and blindness. And even when producers have data, the reality is that 90% of them do nothing with it. All this happens in the least digitalized industry of all. I think you know this way better than me, but agriculture is the least digitalized industry compared with the other industries in the world. And as I said, everything is recorded with pen and paper, and all the information is completely disconnected from each other. So we ask to ourselves, what if they could use technology, the farmers, without changing their habits, just by using WhatsApp at the same day and the same way that they're already doing? You know that maybe 90% of farmers nowadays are using WhatsApp for their operations, or maybe to talk with the family, with friends, or with the bosses in every company, So we ask, what if each producer had a team of data analysts working for them 24/7? And that is Mido. On one side, producers can start talking on our WhatsApp number and register all the information from their operations. For example, they can send a voice note on WhatsApp saying, today we sold 50 kilos of berries, for example, or today we applied nitrogen in the sector 3. And we were just taking all the notes, all the voice notes on WhatsApp, and we would put them into our platform, but with all the data standardized. Then on the platform, everything is fully customized. It works like a whiteboard that adapts to each producer's operations and allow them to operate analytics from all the information simply by talking to an AI. So you don't have to know anything about analytics. You just talk with an artificial intelligence in the platform, and they can create all these analytics, all the information of your company in just seconds. For example, you can create a chart of annual sales or a breakdown of the most applied products that you have applied in your field. In general, and how does it work? In general, our clients start by registering information in the field through WhatsApp. Then we connect with all the farmers' other data sources, like satellite imagery, weather information, inventory, etc. And in the top of that, we build AI agents that deliver insights from the operation data directly on the producer's WhatsApp. So it's like to having a person that works for you, that is connecting all the sources of information of your company and is delivering you the insights into your WhatsApp. You know, it's talking with you and delivering the information into your WhatsApp conversations. You can also ask questions directly in the same chat about all this company data and get an answers in seconds. For example, you can ask, what did a collaboration do in certain of time? You can ask when did we start the harvest? How much have been sold last year? And you will have an answer in just seconds in the same WhatsApp chat. So far, we have been working with all kinds of producers, from large companies like Westphalia Fruits in Chile, that is the world largest avocado companies, or with Driscoll's, that is the global leaders in berries. But also, we have worked with small producers in Chile or in Colombia through Alpina Foundation, and in Chile, specific, through FIA's cooperative programs in the south of Chile, where we even have users that are up to 80 years old using Mido for the daily operations. We are also developing an incredible project with the United Nations, where we are digitalizing 137 producers in the southern Chile, and in addition, digitalizing the technical assistance provided by INDAP's advisors. INDAP is like the most important agricultural institution in the country, in Chile, which work with all the small and the medium-sized producers in the country. And I would like to share a specific case for you with this cooperative here, where we've been working with them, and we help them to record the daily harvest, their sales, their supplies, and the chemicals applied in their fields. And at the end of the day or the week, as they want, our AI agents identify patterns and deliver insights on the harvest quantities, for example, sales analysis, or suppliers' performance. It all depends, of course, of each producer, but in this case, we help them to organize the entire operation and gain control of the variables that matter most for those farmers. Here we are talking about other producers who had probably never have used technology before, and now through a simple WhatsApp chat, they are using artificial intelligence in their daily operations. So for us, it's like a really good successful case that I just wanted to share with you. And just to be clear, I wanted to make this very clear that our platform is 100% customizable, meaning that no matter the language, your operations, or the way you work, the platform adapts to each farmers, to each producers. Right now, with artificial intelligence, we have the chance to produce software or other technologies that can adapt to each user. So that's the way that we are working here. Of course, we give them to every farmers help through the whole process. That way they will work with us. And I would like to share our vision of where we are heading. Today, we see many industries applying artificial intelligence agents to optimize process, make better decisions, and achieve better results, you know? And we believe that this is just going to happen in agriculture if we first needs to build the necessary infrastructure to apply those agents. So that's exactly what we're doing at Mido. We're developing this infrastructure to first digitalize really easy the operation of every farmer through this WhatsApp, but also we're connecting to other sources of information, standardize them, and finally could have this infrastructure to have personalized artificial intelligence AI agents that can help you with your operations in the daily operations. And finally, I would like to share some of the institutions that have supported us through this journey. Of course, the ICA, that's what I'm presenting here. Thank you, Fede, for the recommendation. And if anyone of Startup Chile, of course, Star Fellowship in Switzerland, the National Society of Agriculture of Chile, and we are also members of the Agrotech group of Chile. And if every one of you is interested in learning more about what we are doing, or simply we'll have to having an interest conversation, having a chat online, or whatever you need, here's my WhatsApp number, so you can just scan this QR code, and yes, and to be in touch. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Nicholas, for another interesting presentation. At this stage, we want to make a slight adjustment in the program. We want to bring in now my colleague, Federico Burt, from the programming headquarters, to give some brief remarks on the Digital Agriculture Week and the work of the program generally. Federico, proceed, please.
Good morning, Michael. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much. First of all, let me share the screen. Just 1 second. I really want to show a very short presentation just to organize my ideas. And first of all, let me say that I'm very pleased to be here today, especially because this event takes place within the framework of the Digital Agriculture Days, and also celebrated, in many East Caribbean countries, and the Digital Agriculture Week organized by the digitalization program at the ICA's headquarters. I will tell you some more details about that in a few minutes. So what I wanted today is to briefly share with you ICA's vision about digital agriculture and some of the actions that we are taking to foster I would say, a responsible digitalization of agriculture in the Latin American and the Caribbean region. And before to start with the first slide, I want to thank Michael, Nekelia, Greg, and all the team in the East Caribbean countries very much and congratulate also for the organization, not only of this webinar, but also all the previous events, the Digital Act Days in the different countries that you organized before. I'm really happy of having this event in the region. First of all, let me start by sharing ICA's vision. And basically this, we see that digital technologies from ICA as a key driver for the transformation of agri-food systems. So basically, we see accordingly that digital technologies are necessary to tackling challenges in agri-food systems. This is increased productivity, improve sustainability, integrate farmers to different value chains, and improve the rural work and rural life conditions. So first of all, that Second, I'm sorry, what we see is that the digital transformation of agri-food system is just beginning. We are in the very beginning of this transformation process. And this process will bring a lot of benefits and opportunities, but also it will bring some challenges. It could be some negative impacts, and we want to have from ICA a balanced vision of the process, being aware of the benefits, but at the same time being aware of the potential negative impacts. And last but not least, this process, the digitalization process, is not only about the adoption of technologies. It is also reshaping the way research, innovation, and institutions operate, and even redefining the role of traditionals and new actors in agriculture. And one of the most important new actors that are emerging as part of these processes are the startups actors. And we had in the presentations from Nicolas and presentations before some very concrete examples about how these young teams of entrepreneurs are leading the innovation in agriculture at this time. So number two, given the central importance of digitalization of agriculture, from ICA, we decided to create a dedicated program to address this agenda in a structured way. So through this program, the digitalization program, we focus on actions that help promote the development and use of digital technologies across countries. And so we have in the program 3 main action guidelines that I will tell you now. So first of all, what we try to do is to raise awareness about the importance of digitalization, the emergence of a new institutional landscape, as I was saying before in the previous slide, and the need for a new generation of public policies to drive the development and adoption of digital technologies. That is our first action guideline. The second one is to identify and analyze digital technologies and successful digitalization experiences, cases, promoting their scaling up and adaptation to diverse or to different contexts. And again, last but not least, our third action guidelines as part of the program is to produce and disseminate high quality information while at the same time delivering targeted training programs, mainly aimed to policymakers and to key actors of the agri-food systems. So, what we see in our region, what we see that is happening with the digitalization from the demand, from the development of the technologies point of view, but also from the use of those technology point of view in our region, in the Latin American and the Caribbean countries. First of all, from the supply of technologies point of view, what we what we find is more than 2,000 agtech startups offering many different digital solutions. Then what we see is world-class innovations and entrepreneurial teams. And we have some examples in the presentation that we had before. And we see also that the digital and innovation ecosystem in the region is evolving very quickly. And it's growing very quickly. We have a lot of new agtech startups, a lot of new venture capitals, a lot of new incubators, accelerators, and so on. From the demand of technologies point of view, what we are seeing. So first of all, we see a very important potential market with more than 20 million farmers seeking for solutions, and they are growing almost 600 million hectares. So we have a lot of farmers growing a lot of hectares that are requiring or demanding for a lot of new innovative solutions. We see also, and this is for all the countries in Latin America and the Caribbean, that production systems are far from reaching their full potential. So we need technologies to reach that potential. And we see also digital technology adoption that the digital technology adoption levels are still very, very low. Even in those countries and in those farmers segments that are very technified and professionalized. Even in those cases, the actual use of digital technology is still really low. And finally, what we see is that most of digital solutions require adapt to farmers' needs and context, and the farmers' needs and context are very diverse across the Latin American and the Caribbean countries. We see still huge gaps, mainly connectivity and digital skill gaps. And we see also, as I will tell you later, we are mapping the policies that different countries are implementing to promote the digital technologies, the digital transformation. We see that the digital policies are still in their early stages. Most of the countries are trying to design and implement policies to foster the digitalization process, but all of them, except Brazil, I would say, are in very early stages. And just to finish, what are we doing from ICA? And I will try to be very, very scientific. So first of all, I could summarize saying that we are generating knowledge and linkages for a dynamic and responsible digitalization of agriculture. And some of the main actions. We are mapping and making technologies visible. So basically, we have the CMAC in the headquarters in which we have a lot of the latest technology that you can see and touch and so on. And we developed the AgtexAmericas.net platform in which we map more than 500 digital solutions. So we are also carrying out many technical studies that then we use to elaborate recommendations, mainly for policymakers. We are analyzing and studying, for instance, the status of the regional digital innovation ecosystems, the status of the connectivity in different countries, digital skills, and etc. So we are also trying to promote the incorporation of technologies, and in this sense, we are supporting the design of policies aimed to promote or to foster digitalization. We are, as I said before, we are mapping what the countries are doing. We are trying to learn from that, and we are giving some support in the design of policies based on the country's experiences. And at the same time, we are identifying and analyzing successful digitalization cases just to let the people know the experiences that already exist and the learning from those experiences. Then we are also from ICA stimulating and facilitating the development of technologies. And in this case, we have at the headquarters also the Digital Fabrication Lab, the FAB Lab, in which we offer facilities for entrepreneurs, for young people to start to design or to begin to design some digital solutions. And we also implemented with Endeavor, a very recognized entrepreneur organization, the AgTech Accelerator Program, that is a capacity building program aimed to entrepreneurs, to strengthen the skills of entrepreneurs. And just to finish, we are leveraging the Latin American and the Caribbean digital innovation ecosystem, and our main action to do this is the Digital Ag Week, an event that we are celebrating from 2022 that gather in the ICA's headquarters the key stakeholders of the digital innovation ecosystems. The next edition will start next September 2022 in the headquarters, but this is a hybrid event, so you can join virtually, and I will share as last slide a QR so you can access to the agenda to see what will be the activities that we will have there, and you can find there also the link to join virtually this event. So thank you very, very much, Michael, again, Nekelia, Greg, and all the team. I'm very happy of being here today.
Thank you very much, Federico, and thank you for all your support for making all of this possible within the ECS. So we want to move right ahead into the discussion segment of the activity. To manage this segment, I'm going to colleague from Dominica, from the ECO office in Dominica, Anthony Cyril, who would lead on the management of this segment, and he will be supported by my colleague out of St. Lucia, Tiffany Suraj. So Anthony, it's over to you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Again, I cannot underscore the gratitude and appreciation for the large turnout here today. And just repeat what my colleague said, thanks for showing up and the participation. This session, as you say, we're gonna have a discussion session. Anybody have questions, we request that you put up your hands, get that you'll ask a question, and then we'll call on you. But going forward, what we have done, we have looked at all the questions that were in the chat, and we'll go by the question by question, ask the speakers to maybe respond to them accordingly. So we'll begin with the question 1 to Michael Joseph. What are the questions here for Michael Joseph? Michael, question to you. Citra Nicholas asked, how does a drone help to reduce water usage? And you can give a brief overview of that, even though you maybe mentioned it before.
Well, with the new atomized nozzles and the flight speed and flying overhead, when you're spraying down instead of spraying side, like with a backpack, it significantly cuts the chemical usage, and the drone gives the swath risk, like the chemical is spread out wider than with a typical nozzle. I don't know if that answers the question.
Tony, you heard him?
Okay.
No, you're muted, Tony.
Tony, you're on mute.
Yes. So I was just saying, I hope this answers Sita's question, Michael's response.
Yeah, thank you. I came a bit late, so I didn't get a chance to hear that they were using spray drones. So that was good. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. Michael, another question to you again. It says, what other Kwesi Calendar asks, what other legal procedures in your country for the use of spray drones?
Well, in the Caribbean, in the Antigua, we follow the Caribbean Aviation Authority, where they have typical rules with flying close to people and so on. It's not technically a license yet because spray drone technology is relatively new, but they're working on creating permits, requirements, and so on. So it's still relatively new here.
Thank you, Michael. Tony, I think maybe you were speaking and on mute. I see Lavon hand is up before we take another question from the chat. Lavon Prime.
Good morning, all. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. Can Mr. Joseph give a range of the price of a drone for that type of work in his field? He could give it in US or ECA, but I'd just like to know a range of prices for the drone. Please, thank you.
Well, the price varies on the setup you like, and like the size of the drone with the tank and how many batteries, because sometimes the batteries are quite expensive. So if you're going for a minimal setup, like say a 5-gallon drone with a 1 battery, can range around 16,000 US. And then like the new T100, that's a later model that can go up to maybe 40,000 US, but these prices have gone up because of the new tariffs and so on, and the trade tensions.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, great. We have another question. Another hand raised, Julia Holder.
Hi. Hi, good morning, guys. With regards to the drones also, my question would be, are we only using the drones for fertilizer, for foliar feed, or are we looking at insect pests? Because why I'm asking this question is a double barrel question. How low can the drones go if we're looking at a crop that's fairly short? Or are we only looking at tree crops like pawpaw or something like that, where the drone can get slightly under the leaves? Because most pests are found under the leaves. So how would the drone work or be beneficial for pests in a short crop that's under the leaves, or even in a large crop that's under the leaves?
Oh, okay, the drones, you can either herbicides, insecticides, you can apply any liquid that you want. And to get it under the leaves, remember when the drones fly over the crop, it has downward pressure from the propellers, and the downward pressure from the propellers shakes the leaves. And while the leaves are shaking like upside down and so on, the water steadily comes down and covers the top and the bottom of the leaves. So you get good coverage on the leaves too. And you can fly whatever height you want. You can set the drone to whatever height you want, either 2 feet, 5 feet, 10 feet, whatever, however high you want it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, one more. I would like to move to Mr. Grant for a second. The Grant, Mr. Dave Lloyd asked a question in terms of considering a pilot project for integrated black figure control. What would you recommend in terms of monitoring pest and disease presence in the field? The lower one setup would assist the farmer, and what will it take to set up such a project? Over. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Well, you would need a sensor that would be able to either, most likely a camera on your farm, or again, you could use drones to fly over the farm and figure out where the actual black sitter toker is, and basically then know which part of the farm to go. There are sensors that test for all sorts of different things. I could probably look into if there's a specific sensor that can detect black sicker toker. So you might have to swipe the leaf and put it into the sensor or something like that. But it's something that we can explore. There are new sensors coming out every day. And most likely you just have to figure out what is the best sensor for specifically looking at black sicker toker, which probably a camera or some type of swipe sensor or something like that. But yeah, it's something that we can look at. I hope that answers this question.
I hope so. Mr. Lloyd? I want to bring on Nicholas right now. I know you and Mrs. Francis had a little exchange in the chat, but I want to bring forth her question to the general body. She asked, what is the estimated investment per producer, and is it applicable for small-scale agro-processors? So maybe,
Yes.
Nicola, you can just give a general answer for the public. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Anthony, and thank you, Diana, for the question. Yes, the cost for small scale farmers, we are aiming to be cheap as like a Netflix subscription or a cup of coffee at a monthly, you know, and it works for small scale agro processors. We have already some use cases in Chile, in the south of Chile, and in Colombia with small scale farmers that are using Mido for the entire operation, for sales, for harvest, for any process of their operation, and it's super easy to use because it's just by using WhatsApp. So for them was like really fast to start using Mido, and they can have all the information digitalized in one place. So yes, it is applicable for small scale farmers.
Okay, thank you very much, Nicholas.
Thank you.
Yes. I know that some of you may have to leave us shortly while we do the question and answer segment. So we are going to launch a feedback poll on the screen to help us improve the future sessions. So you will see it on the screen. Please join in to leave your feedback so we may have better sessions. So I'll allow maybe like a minute for that to go through before we move on to the additional questions that came in the chat.
You could go ahead with the questions, Tiffany.
Okay, so the next question was for Mr. Joseph from Jessica Joseph. She said she wanted to know where can I buy a spray drone from?
Our regional dealer for the Caribbean is in the Dominican Republic. So I don't remember exactly the name of the dealership, but if you Google agriculture or DJI spray drone dealership in the Dominican Republic, there will be the first option that pops up. Or what I can do, I can share their information in the chat. Let me just give me a time. Let me get it for you.
Thank you very much, Michael. Again, another question to you. It's, well, a comment into a question. It seems that this technology will save a lot of strenuous and time-consuming work. I am assuming that this can be an expensive venture for many smallholder farmers, but potentially can be rented if a service provider is available. So Mr. Muntasi is asking, how easy is it to use? Do you need trained personnel to operate the drone so that it doesn't drift to other farms? And how costly is it to maintain the drone? So 3-part question. If you need me to repeat, I will, or if it's okay. Were you able to get everything, Michael?
Can you repeat it one more time for me, please?
How easy is it to use the drone? Do you need trained personnel to operate the drone to avoid it from drifting to other farms, and the maintenance cost?
For the brand like DJI, they have a lot of training videos available online. That's what I practically watched and then started to use on my drone. That's how I learned how to operate these drones. I basically self-taught, but they have a lot of safety videos, how to set up and how to anything. A full video catalog there that you can watch and learn. And another thing, I just said, what's the third question? The maintenance. Yes, the maintenance, it depends on what size. Depends on what size your farm is, because if you're doing small farms, I know some of these parts just give problems after maybe 700 acres. And you know, for us in the Caribbean, it's going to take you a while to complete to spray 700 acres. But if you're in these larger countries, you can just change parts very easy.
And one last question regarding drifting. Was there anything that you followed to avoid the drifting or the...
Well, the drifting, as you're the pilot, you'll have to watch the wind, and you know, the higher the wind, the slower you fly. And the drips, some of these drones, you can control the size of the droplets. So you can larger droplets for higher wind conditions, so it's not easy to drift.
Thank you very much. One more question again. Joseph said that less water is being utilized with the drone. Given an example, he also said that the tank of the drone is small. Can you clarify that, please, for Ms. Price?
Well, they have multiple different drones, types of drones out there, different sizes. So you can get anything from a 2-gallon size all the way up to a 26-gallon size that just came out. So it all depends on you, your budget, and your use. So whichever one you want, you'll choose. But it still uses less water comparing to traditional backpack spraying. Because oftentimes when you use backpack spraying, you're spraying some same spot maybe once, twice, so there's no overlapping because you have GPS precision with the drones also.
Okay, Michael. Another question for you. It relates to drone usage. The application Sheldon tell us application of insecticide and pesticide usually are guided by manufacturer's rates. How does the use of a drone affect the application rates? And supportive question around the same time from Novel Abraham, it said, can you use weedicides in the spray drone? So first work of Sheldon, how does it affect the application rates? And two, can you use weedicides in a spray drone?
The application rate is generally the same. It's just you can follow the label on the bottle. But usually when I spray for other farmers, they have their specific rate that they're accustomed to. So they'll mix their chemical how they want it, and I just apply it. But the application rate is generally the same.
Second question.
And the second question, repeat the second question for me one more time, please.
Can you use weedicides in the spray drone?
Yes, you can use herbicides with spray drones, yes. But you just have to monitor the drift. As I said, larger droplets and fly a little bit slower. And you after even not with just with the herbicides, after every application, you flush your system, you wash out the drone, you fill it up with fresh water, and you flush it out.
To Mr. Grant, question from Diane Francis. Maybe some clarity there. On the lower one network, what is the requirement and investment cost for a pilot, and what is the most effective scale for such pilot?
But for a pilot, you would, first of all, is what would you like to monitor with the pilot? You could have a pilot to track animal temperature and position on your farm. The sensors are cheap. Most of them are under 100 EC per sensor, but it all depends on the type of sensor. There's the sensors that test soil moisture and nutrients in the soil. Those, again, I think are all about under 100 US. So it depends on what you would like to have the pilot comprise of. So you might just decide to just do a couple moisture sensor and nutrient sensor across a large farm. So it's based on the size of that plot. You would get the adequate amount of sensors that would give you the readings necessary for that size plot. And most of the sensors will tell you if your plot is X amount of X with this is the amount of sensors you require to cover this area of land. So it depends. There are lots of sensors. There's temperature sensors, tracking and GPS sensors, nutrient sensors. So it all depends. And the cost is based on how many you would like to have, how big is the farm, because you would have to have multiple gateways. Is it the topology, all of that. So you would have to basically do a survey of where you would like to do this, but it's probably, you can get this for under $1,000 US for a pretty big farm initial cost off the top of my head. But yeah,
all
thanks.
right. And she also has a follow-up, that is this service defined by various packages so that the farmer or the agency can determine best use?
However you want, based on the area that you're in and what you would like to monitor for the farm. Yes, it's not specific to anything. It could be built for purpose and built for the specific solution that you would like.
Okay, so while we're on your line, one more from Mario Luis asked,
no problem.
Regarding sensor data, can you describe how the data is managed, safety or hallucination? I guess that's some of the jargon from the IT center.
Oh, no problem. Well, all the sensors basically send the data to a gateway that is locally on your farm. The hallucination that you're talking about is usually with AI systems, where AI systems basically give you wrong information or basically concoct pieces of information together and present it to you as fact. But this system, the sensors direct to the gateway, has no AI built into it. The AI would actually be what is manipulating your data to give you insights and stuff like that, if you do choose to have that implementation. So AI is an additional feature you could add to your data sets once you get it to the application. So it's basically sensors to the gateway. From the gateway, it goes off to basically a website or an app that resides on your phone. And that's basically how that data is shared. You would take all the best practices for cybersecurity and data privacy once you set up those systems, and obviously that will be a part of the development.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Grant. To Michael Joseph, Natasha Lander asked, how does a drone sense increased wind speed, and can it have a stop? Can it have a stop work if there is too much wind?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Okay, how does the drone sense how does the drone sense increase wind speed, and can we have it stop work if there is too much wind?
No, the drone does not sense the wind speed. You, as the operator, will see that the wind is too high, because even though in these the videos that I mentioned earlier, they will guide you and tell you what winds are ideal and what aren't ideal, and based on experience and so on. And even they have a DJI Smart Farm app that it tells you how fast the wind is. So you'll see how fast the wind is on the controller when you're connected to the internet. But the drone itself doesn't have a sensor that tells you how fast the wind is. And it won't.
Okay, I hope that's answered Natasha's question. Another question to you, Michael.
One second, Tony.
Okay.
So excuse me. We have a hand up. Love One Prime.
Yeah, sorry to that. Mr. Grant, this is for Mr. Grant. It's two questions. Regarding the sensors you spoke about for the animal tags on their ears, would that work against predial larceny? And two, your data collection device that you said you built, is it possible for you to give the cost of that machine and I guess the size farm that particular one you show could manage?
Which machine? The first question was what?
Predial larceny with the sensory air tags for animals. That could work for Privia Lastly, or because if there's a sensor in the air tag, I think that would help with situations where Privia Lastly is rampant on a farm.
Oh, if the person does not recognize that it's a sensor and they leave it there, yeah, you could get, but eventually it will, yes, you could track it, but eventually it will move away from, you would get the general direction that it went, because eventually your sensors on your farm, it would stop pick it up. If you're in a flat area, it could get a pretty far distance away, but if they take it miles and miles away in a topology that is mountainous, you will eventually lose the tracking. But again, if you're in an area that's generally a farming area and all of you on the farm have the sensors and you're cooperating in that way, you could continue to track it for probably miles, because when it gets to the next point, it will pick it up and it will tell you, well, that's where it is, and keep going like that. And the second question is the one I showed in the
machine. The
off the
data
top
collector,
of my
I think
head, the gateway. The gateway is about 100 US off the top of my head. A little over 100 US, I believe, or probably less. And the sensors probably cost under 50 US per sensor.
So if we need to purchase, you are the trader.
No, I can advise you and point you in the right direction and give you some support as which sensor to get, what you're looking for, and kind of explain the entire application to you. Yes, because you would need an application that all these data goes to. So basically a website that's sort of your website, and so that would have to be spun up for you, and your sensors take it to that, and then you can do all the fancy analytics and AI and all of that from there.
One more, does it sense for
No problem.
earthquake?
There are sensors that do seismic, yes.
Oh, good. Nice.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, thanks for that answer and that question from Levon. Michael, one more question for you. From Jonah Oman says, is there a legal process for registering chemical products in your country? And if yes, does that registration allow for aerial application of chemicals?
Yes, any new chemicals coming, they has to be registered with plant protection.
No, the toxic
With toxic chemicals. Yes, they have to, any new chemicals coming in, they have to be registered. And as I said previously before, drone technology is basically new. So this is the first aerial application we have. So technically there's no written law about aerial spraying, but they're working on it right now currently.
And lastly, from Michaela Brandford, in terms of organic farming, how can the drone help? Michael, you are muted.
You could hear us, Michael. Did you get the question? If you're speaking, you're muted. You could try to unmute yourself.
Can you repeat that question one more time for me, please?
From Michaela Brandford, in terms of organic farming, how can the drones help?
Yeah, drones can help with organic farming, especially with myself. Sometimes I use organic insecticides and homemade, but sometimes with these organic inputs, they don't last as long, so you might have to apply it more frequently. So the drone will save on time and labor with applying organic. So you'll be able to say spray your organic insecticides like these twice a week or 3 times a week without any hassle. Because sometimes some organic inputs have to be applied much more often than more contact, not systemic.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Nikhil, I think
we have one hand
well,
up, Tony.
one hand
We
up. Now, I'm gonna say from the
yes,
chat, there are no more questions, but I'll leave to any more hands
Julia.
up. Okay.
Yes, we have a question. Well, we have a hand up. Julia Holder, please go ahead.
Hi, once again. In regards to the sensory, I can't remember the name of the actual app or application, but we were mentioning ear tags and being when somebody asked about the predial larceny. Obviously, you're speaking about animals with ears, hence ruminants are large animals. What about poultry? How does that sensor app help with a poultry farmer or a small farmer like rabbit farms, etc.? What's the benefit of the app for that?
Okay, so it's a sensor that basically sends information to an app. Just the sensor is just that, a sensor, but you would need some type of app to send that data to. Some sensors, when you get them, the manufacturer will actually recommend an app for you or sometimes give it to you. What we've been doing with these sensors is basically just create something custom using open source platforms that does that for you. As far as other types of animals, there are different types of tags. There's some tags that goes around the animal's neck. There's some air tags, and I think there are some smaller tags. So you can probably figure out different ways that you can attach it to things like rabbits and poultry and stuff like that. You just have to. There are different ways that you will be able to attach it. So I believe there should be a way you can get a smaller sensor that's not designed for ears for something like a rabbit or poultry. So there should be something available, yes.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Okay, thank you. I see we have two hands up. Two hands up. I think Crystal Phillips was up first. So Crystal Phillips, hand one, can go ahead, please.
Hi guys. I stepped out and I came back in, but I asked a question in the Q&A and I'm not sure if someone answered it while I was not here. Was it answered already?
Could you say the question, please, Crystal?
Okay, the question I asked in the Q&A was that, well, it's a statement and a question. I stated that yes, your equipment suppliers, are currently in the process of building a community-driven type platform for food processors where equipment guides, peer support, and technician access are centralized in this data, and more like I'll call it more of a database or a marketplace or a forum. So my question is, do you believe community-based digital platforms like this, where peers and experts exchange knowledge on farming practices and equipment and the like, can accelerate adoption and build trust faster than top-down initiatives?
Thanks, Crystal. No, that question was not answered. Can we have one of the presenters answer? Crystal, please.
I could try. So yeah, I believe if you have a forum where everybody comes together and meet, it would help drive adoption for these types of technologies. It's always nice to know that somebody that you know is using it and they can explain to you the benefits and how they implemented it. So yes, I believe that those sort of community forums, groups can help to accelerate adoption. Somebody does a pilot, they explain to the rest of the group, yes, these are my benefit. I know where my animals are. I know the temperature of my animals. I know whether my plot is moist, or I know exactly what nutrients is in my soil right now, and I know when I can apply the chemicals. I can turn on my sprinkler from anywhere in the world. So yeah, I believe that if you have those sort of community
well,
groups
it's not
or
just in
forums.
relation to IoT, like you're dealing with just data. I was speaking in the larger scheme of things. So
okay, Crystal, I could probably take that question since we coordinating the CCRAF as a platform. ICA would have done quite a number of projects that would have included even a marketplace through one of our GCF projects, includes supporting development of various apps where, buyers and suppliers come together. Generally speaking, of course, once you can have a coordinated way of doing things, centralized way of doing things, that is generally helpful. It makes it easier for persons, to find the information where they can buy. In that sense, it tends to be a bit more trustworthy because they will be getting direct feedback and all of that. Of course, these sort of things tend to be very beneficial. Of course, you would definitely need to understand what the needs out there are and what it is you're supplying. So, of course, you would definitely need to do some background research, probably some questionnaires, to have it out there to ask based on what you want to do for your company. Whatever it is you're supplying, to identify what the needs are, first of all, because you need to know what the people need, what the farmers need, to be able to supply them with what it is they need. Or the inverse would be that you probably see the need for whatever product or equipment or tool that you want to bring on the market. And so you would need to sensitize people about what it is, what its benefits are, and so on and so forth. But
I just wanted to redirect you because you're seeing it from a product basis. It isn't really a product with supplier and customer relationship. I'm talking about a peer-to-peer network with persons who actually
but
use the
similar
product.
to this platform you're speaking. So basically, the CCRAF is a peer-to-peer platform where we share information with each other. So it is beneficial, as you could see through the CCRAF. Of course, the CCRAF is, we talk very general and everything agriculture. And so it's not every topic is relevant to everyone. So if you move it down to some more specialized topics, specialized areas, that would be even additionally beneficial. And if you look at even bringing it further down to the country and community level, where you get more direct engagement and you get closer to the ground, of course, those things are definitely beneficial. Again, is how you go about building it and how you go about sustaining it becomes important, because you want the platform to become responsive. You want it to be providing persons, even if it's peer-to-peer information, but you want it to be of quality, validated information that persons share with each other and utilize. You want it to be practical, you want it to be relevant. So yes, in that context, it is beneficial, and of course the CCRAF is doing that and showing the proof of that. And so, of course, if persons branching out, we would love to see persons branching out and creating those smaller networks that are more targeted in those other more specific areas. So persons who are, for example, if it's persons within the bees, they would show more interest and participate more because it's directly what they are looking for. So definitely yes.
Okay, no problem. I will reach out.
Thank you. Just send me an email. Thanks. So because we have the experience.
Could you send me your email address, please?
Okay, so the same email you would have gotten through that is the same email. So, but I will be sending a follow-up email. Okay. Over to you, Tony and Tiffany. Thank you so much for your question, Crystal.
Okay, thanks, Crystal. Thanks, Nikhilya. We'll be taking the last hand up, which is Mahalia Joseph. She has been up for a while. To wrap up our Q&A section. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Mahalia.
Thanks. Good day. So what I wanted to find, I'm not too sure again if they answered earlier. I was asking, how do you charge your drone, and what systems do you use to charge your drones in the field? Because when you're looking at acreage, it means your battery. What is the lifespan of your batteries, and what systems, is it solar? Is it electrically charged? What is the system in the field that you use to power the drones in the field?
I usually work with a generator, small generator. So, and usually have like 2 batteries. So while I'm using one, another one is charging. And with the new fast chargers, you can get your batteries charged within 10 minutes. So it's so you can swap them in and out. 3 batteries would be more ideal. So you can work whole day without any stopping.
And the generator, is it gas powered or is it electrical powered?
But for me, it's gas. It's gas. It's you however power source. You can even use an inverter and put it on your car battery. It's whatever source of electricity would be more convenient to you and your situation.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Joseph. Thank you, Michael. So that brings us to wrap up our Q&A section. While doing so, we would ask the presenters to give a 1-minute key point or takeaway to our audience, well, this morning into this afternoon. Charles can start off. I think he has already turned on his camera and unmuted his mic. So you can start
No
off.
problem. Okay, no problem. So to wrap up everything that I said today, we all in the Caribbean needs data, and we need to be able to capture that data effortlessly. We need to make it very easy for the farmers to collect the data, which means we need to collect the data for them. Using sensors and adding sensors to your farm is a very easy way to do that. The cost is very low for the sensors compared to other systems that you probably would need to implement. It requires low power, so you can use solar, and a lot of the systems come with their own little solar chargers and all of that to basically be able to network your farm. Once you have that data and you utilize AI and all the analytics, you should start seeing much better results with much less effort into your farm. So these systems do require some capacity and knowledge in deploying them, but I believe there's a lot of people across the Caribbean, like myself, that can assist you in looking at the technology and seeing, based on your farm, if this is a good fit for you. But from my experience and having implemented a similar system for a company in Barbados to monitor refrigeration units, it really enhanced what they do. It's the same type of sensors, just implemented for keeping refrigeration, walk-in refrigeration containers at a particular temperature, and you knowing what it is all the time. It's just basically the same type of sensors, just implemented in a different field. But yeah, so I believe with all of this, we can get our farmers much more information when they need it, as they need it, and they could probably go ahead and take that long needed vacation. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Michael can go next, and then we will have Nicholas.
Well, what I would say is I will encourage people to get into more technology, because in the Caribbean, we have limited land, limited resources. So we'll have to find a way to produce more with less. And technology is one of the ways that we can use to help us with that. So we're not just forgetting about our traditional roots. So we have to find a sweet spot where we can blend traditional methods with new methods and going forward, so we can be both sustainable and technically advanced and efficient. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Nicholas?
Yeah, thank you. I agree with all the Charles and Michael said. I also believe that once you have more and more information about your crop, you will need something to analyze all those sources of information, and we wanted to help you with that. And also, if you want to digitalize other parts of your operation that are not digitalized, that you are still using paper or Excel spreadsheets, I think it's really useful to have all that information in one place and take analytics of those parameters in order to, of course, produce more and with much less effort, as Charles said. So yeah, and thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you, Nicholas. So thank you all for all your questions and your comments. At this point, I pass you over to Mr. Dalton. Michael.
Thank you very much, Tiffany and Anthony, for chairing that particular segment of the program. So we are at the concluding stage now. I just want to conclude by thanking all present here today. Thanks especially to the presenters, Michael and Charles and Nicholas. Thank you very much for your efforts. Thanks also to you, the audience, for your great interaction and for the tremendous participation we've had here. Looking at the numbers of persons who have been able to join us today and who have stayed with us over this extended period. I want to also thank the ECS team for the tremendous support they have given to this activity for putting it together, and especially to the ECS representative, Mr. Greg Rollins. Thanks to Frederico Bott, my colleague in headquarters and his team as well for their support of this activity. And obviously, thanks also to the CCRAF program and the coordinator of the CCRAF program, Nakilia Karai, who is going to have the last word incidentally. So thank you all very much. We can see from the interactions, the engagements we have had in this particular forum, that there's a need for us to have further activities along this particular line, and we look forward to see what else we can organize to bring stakeholders together to share experiences and knowledge on digital agriculture. So Nikita, it's over to you for the final word.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you, ECS team. And we really appreciate that the ECS team has reached out to us to do this special edition and to see we have the youth doing so much and to see the technology that is actually being used in the Caribbean. You know, sometimes we always say we don't have nothing, we don't have anything. We do have things, it's just, it is not being reached out there, and we are happy through the CCRAF to assist you out there with all these various, you know, tools and technology that you have been using to bring it out to the wider audience across the region. So we are open and inviting you to reach out to us to assist you in bringing the information and out there to persons. So before we leave, I will give a brief update of what is up next on the CCRAF's agenda. But before we do so, we would like to take a nice little picture. So if persons who are comfortable could, you know, put on the camera so we could take a few snippet photos for this session, so we could do a nice little press release. We want to see your faces in there for you. And thank you so much for your participation, and do hope the session was of great value to you. And we do encourage you that if you need any additional information, I know we cannot, you know, delve into everything in one session. And so if you do need additional information, do not be hesitant to reach out to us, okay? So I am going to start taking some pictures, probably some of the ECS stuff, if you could also help me, so we could ensure. Charles, your camera is off. If you could turn on your camera, please. And if other persons who are comfortable could also turn on the camera. Thank you. So I'm just gonna start. So please put on your nice picture face. Okay, keep it there, keep it there. There, we're on page 2 now.
Hold on, hold on, Nikila, hold on.
Yes, yes. Turn on your camera, Craig. Turn on your camera. We're not able to reach your page. Hold on. Keep the smile, keep the smile. We are on page 3 now. Okay. Okay, I think we get everyone with the cameras now. Anybody else that came on now? Okay, excellent. So thank you so much, everyone. We got some lovely photos. I do hope the other persons assisted me in getting some nice photos too, so we could put together a nice press release. on the event and see how it, it was collated from the national level. You see, very important, we share at the national level, but when you share at the national level, it's known in the country, but we have elevated it to the regional level. So now you have seen from Antigua, you have seen from, what is happening in Dominica, and we extended it outside the region to bring in Nicola from Chile. Thank you so much. So we get that, outside experience that is also available to us for use in the Caribbean region. Everything don't have to be, created or done solely by us. And so we're really happy to have had you on, Nicola, and for sharing what your company is doing. And so I will share my screen. So just to wrap up in terms of this graph, so these are our lovely presenters, and we definitely would like, maybe have a session in the upcoming year, because we definitely will have Digital Agriculture Week in Agriculture in headquarters next year. Federico, I'm saying we have in it, so you have to have it. And so we definitely want to have an incorporation of our ladies, because I am aware of ladies in the digital world doing some great work, so that we can publicize that. And so thank you again, everyone. So in terms, I know persons are wondering, we would have had our 3-part webinar series. So these are the certificates of participation in progress. I am working on them to have them sent out. So we had 37 persons. In total, we had 847 unique participants in our 4 sessions. So our reach is we are getting the average 250 persons per session. So we're very happy for your continued support. So we had 37 persons attending all 4 sessions. We had 52 attending 3 sessions, and we had 95 attending 2 sessions. So from next week, you will start getting your certificate of participation in your inbox. So look out for that. If you know you attended more than 2 sessions and you do not receive your certificate of participation between the next 2 weeks, please reach out to me. So up next, we have another stakeholder that have reached out to us, farmer community. I know Crystal would have mentioned, having that online community to share among each other. So they have this farmer community where they connect experts and farmers within the different fields to get, support and information sharing. So next week, Wednesday, September 17th, we are going to have that session on the farmer community. So for persons interested in, being in that kind of community online platform where you can share with each other, ask questions to various experts based on what you're doing, I will share the information with you for you to join that session next week. Also, what we have is our CCRAF on the road. So very exciting. As I said, we looking to translate the knowledge to action. I know after a while people say all we're doing is talk in these webinars. We are actually acting. We have been on the ground. We were in Jamaica. So we're heading to St. Kitts and Nevis. Hold on a second. What's this? Right, so we are on the road. And we will also be having, 2 sessions at the Caribbean Week of Agriculture. Of course, youth is very important in terms of the sector. So, and many times people are saying the youth are not interested. As you can see, the youth are interested and are doing great things. It's just, it is not being portrayed. And we, the CCRAF, want to portray that a bit more and cut down this myth that youth not interested in agriculture. They are, and they are there, and it's not a nice thing for them to hear that they're not interested in agriculture. So we need to change that narrative. I think we need to start saying the youth needs to be seen more. They need to be identified and showcased for the work that they are doing, not just say that they're not interested because we hear other people saying it. We need to start cutting down that myth. Okay, folks? And that can happen as our community through the CCRAF. So our first session will be Next Gen Agricultural Leaders, Fueling Change, Transforming the Sector. So that will be on Tuesday, September 30th. We're starting at 9 a.m. on the dot. So for persons in St. Kitts and Nevis, You can join us at room 1 at the St. Kitts Marriott. It is completely free. Please go to the Caribbean Week of Agriculture website. You register. Lunch is available for free once you register. So please go on there, register, join us. If you're unable to join us, and for persons outside of St. Kitts, we will have a virtual link that you can join us. Our second session is farmer-led innovations. Of course, we focus in on the farmers. And as I mentioned, we're reducing talk, increasing action. And that is also same day, Tuesday, from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. I have to adjust that, in room 1. So please join us. Go to the Caribbean Week of Agriculture website. There is more information. There's a lot more other events happening as well. In terms of our CCRAF on the road, we have our partner packages for persons who want to join us on the road. If you're in St. Kitts, we have completed Jamaica. We should be visiting St. Lucia. Most likely we'll have to move it to October because of Caribbean Week of Agriculture. We will provide updates on that, but we will be in St. Kitts. We'll also be in Antigua and Barbuda and Dominica. And so for persons who would like to partner with us, there is a community ally, which is in-kind support. You have the sustainability catalyst, which is between $1,000, $5,000 US, and you have the resilience champion, which is $5,000 US and above. So we encourage you to reach out to us if you want to be on the ground, if you want to showcase and support the translation of knowledge to action. We invite you to partner with us and join us on the ground with the stakeholders and make that difference on the ground. And so these are the exciting things. And of course, please do not wait for me to send you an email. I know sometimes, you get bombarded by a lot of emails, which can become annoying. So please feel free to go to our various platforms. We do have our website, which will connect you to everything. It's ccraf.iica.int. So please go to our website. You will see all the upcoming events, all the links to them. And after the session, I will also send you the link to register for the sessions, and so that you can also receive. I know some of you are always interested in the PowerPoint, so I will also share those. So with that, I would like to extend many thanks to our presenters, Charles, Michael, and Nicola. And thank you very much to the ECS for reaching out to us to collaborate on this session. And of course, to you, the CCRAF family. We love you all. We thank you for your participation. We are one region, and we need to continue, sharing the information, sharing the knowledge, because no one outside the region will just decide to come and save us. We have to save ourselves with all the challenges, climate challenges, financial challenges, all the challenges that we are facing within the sector and outside the sector that are influencing the sector. So with that, I want to say thank you. And I do wish you all a lovely afternoon, and do look forward to seeing some of you next week and face-to-face at the Caribbean Week of Agriculture. Lovely afternoon, everyone. Goodbye.